You know, when we go shopping for clothes, we always look for the perfect fit, right? You'd never just grab any old size off the rack and hope for the best. It's just common sense. But what if I told you that for far too long, a really critical form of cancer therapy has been doing pretty much exactly that?
Think about it. This question really hits the nail on the head. We expect a custom fit for so many things in our lives, yet when it comes to something as critical as therapy for metastatic cancer, the norm has been a fixed standard prescription. It just doesn't make sense, and it's a problem that medicine is finally starting to solve.
And that really gets to the heart of the problem. The traditional way of doing things has been what's called an empiric prescription, basically a standard approach for everybody. But where things are headed and where they need to go is toward personalized medicine. We're talking about a custom fit designed for each patient's unique biology.
Right. So that leads to the most important question of all. With that old one-size-fits-all method, what is the actual radiation-absorbed dose that ultimately gets delivered to a patient's tumor?
The answer? It's unknown. Just think about that. Two simple words that uncover this massive gap in the traditional treatment of metastatic cancer. We're essentially guessing. And when you're fighting cancer, guessing is just not good enough.
For a long time, standard practice was to give a similar fixed amount of a radiopharmaceutical to every single patient. It didn't matter about their size, their metabolism, or how their unique biology would even process the therapy. Everyone just got the same amount of injected radioactivity. Okay, but hold on, what are we actually measuring here? Well, that is the critical question. See, the old method prescribes in a unit called becquerels. That just measures the amount of radioactivity we inject. But what really matters, the thing that has the biological effect on the tumor, is the radiation-absorbed dose, and that's measured in a totally different unit called grays. So with the old empiric method, you know what you're injecting, but you have absolutely no idea what the tumor or your healthy organs are actually absorbing. And that's the fundamental problem right there. The most important number in this whole equation, the actual radiation-absorbed dose that gets to the tumor and to healthy organs, is completely unknown.
So, here's the key difference. On one side, you've got injected radioactivity, which we measure in becquerels, or BQ. You can think of this as just the amount of drug you put into the syringe. But what really matters for the treatment is on the other side, the radiation-absorbed dose. We measure that in a unit called gray, or GY. This is the actual energy that gets deposited in the tissue. And here's the bottom line. The biological effect, what happens to the cancer cells and the healthy cells, is all determined by the grays, not the becquerels.
To put it simply, the radiation-absorbed dose is the number that counts. It's the direct cause of the therapeutic effect on metastatic cancer, but it's also what we need to control to minimize side effects. Getting this value right is the whole ballgame.
So the old method, which is called empiric prescription, gives a standard amount of radioactivity to every single person. It's measured in a unit called becquerels. The real problem with that? The actual radiation-absorbed dose that the cancer gets is a complete unknown. But the future, well, that's predictive prescription. It's totally personalized, it's measured in a different unit called gray, and this is the key, the radiation-absorbed dose is known before the treatment even begins.
And this is the metric that changes everything, the gray. This measures the radiation-absorbed dose, the actual energy that gets absorbed by the tissue. This is the impact. When you're treating metastatic cancer, this is the number that truly matters. It's the difference between knowing how many bullets you fired versus knowing how many actually hit the target.
Exactly. We're not talking about guesswork here. Radiopharmaceutical therapy is a form of molecular radiotherapy, and it's all governed by predictable, deterministic radiobiology. The outcomes can be calculated, and they really should be.
Okay, but wait. How can you possibly know the radiation-absorbed dose before the therapy is even given? I mean, that almost sounds like you're predicting the future. Well, in a way, that's exactly what it is. The technique is called predictive dosimetry, and its entire goal is to predict the future so we can change it in favor of the patient's preferred outcome.
And the process is actually pretty straightforward. First, that simulation scan gives you the roadmap. Second, software takes that roadmap and predicts the radiation-absorbed dose for different prescription options. And third, the clinical team uses that prediction to create a personalized prescription that hits that perfect sweet spot, maximizing the damage to the tumor while staying within safe limits for healthy organs.
I really love this quote because it just captures the whole idea so perfectly. This isn't just about measuring something, it's about being proactive. We are literally forecasting all the possible outcomes so we can choose the one that gives the patient the absolute best chance.
That sounds incredibly advanced, so I have to assume it requires all sorts of expensive, specialized equipment and probably takes hours to do, right? You know, you would think so, but what is just amazing is that the most basic form of this, called single-time point predictive dosimetry, is based on free, open-source software, and it can be done in a matter of minutes. It is accessible right now. This ability to predict is most critical for one specific moment in the treatment journey, and it's a concept that's known as the first strike. Yeah, all the research shows that the very first treatment you get delivers the biggest punch. It is by far the most efficient opportunity to treat metastatic cancer. So by personalizing this first strike to deliver the maximum safe radiation-absorbed dose, you can hit those tumors hard right from the get-go before they have a chance to become less responsive. It avoids these futile treatments that are just too weak to really be effective. It's something that doctors have seen in practice for decades. Your very first treatment is your best shot. It's your most powerful weapon. After that, each treatment you get is just a little bit less effective than the one before it. It's a classic case of diminishing returns, which is why making that first strike count is so critical. And the science behind why this works is fascinating. See, a tumor isn't just one big uniform blob. It's actually a mix of all sorts of different cancer cells. It has heterogeneity. When you hit it with the powerful, optimized first strike, you don't just kill the cells you target, you create this awesome crossfire effect, where those targeted cells actually zap their cancer's neighbors that weren't hit directly. But if that first strike is too weak, the toughest, most resistant cells survive, and they make any future treatments way less effective.
Decades of clinical observation have shown us that the first treatment is by far the most important one. Often, treatments that come later are less effective. So by personalizing and optimizing that first strike, we maximize the therapeutic benefit right from the get-go. It's just a more efficient way to treat, it helps overcome the natural variations within tumors, and it gives the patient the absolute best chance for a positive outcome.
There's a powerful thought that no tumor is ever truly radioresistant. A lot of times, what we might call resistance could actually just be the result of a treatment that wasn't quite enough, a first strike that just didn't hit hard enough.
That's why an optimized first strike is such a game changer. It maximizes the therapeutic benefit right out of the gate. We know tumors aren't all the same. They have variations, but a powerful first strike can create what's called a crossfire effect, where the radiation from the cells we hit helps destroy their untreated neighbors. It's all about hitting the metastatic cancer hard, right when it's most vulnerable.
Decades of just watching how patients respond has shown us that the first treatment is almost always the most effective. After that, you can start to see diminishing returns, as the metastatic cancer can sometimes become less responsive, almost like it's building up a resistance. So by using predictive dosimetry to optimize that first strike, the goal is to get it right the first time, every time. You want to maximize the effectiveness right from day one, hit the metastatic cancer as hard and fast as you safely can, and avoid that risk of undertreating, which can let the toughest cancer cells survive and regrow.
So what is predictive dosimetry? At its heart, it's about using science to get a glimpse of the future. By running simulations, we can forecast what's going to happen. It's like we're predicting the future so that we can actually change it to get the absolute best outcome for the patient.
This isn't some fringe idea. This approach is now recommended by the world's leading authorities on this stuff, including the International Commission on Radiological Protection, or ICRP, and the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA. Their endorsement is a huge signal that personalized dosimetry is becoming the new global standard of care.
So it's really like we're moving from an art to a science?
Yes, exactly. Radiopharmaceutical therapy has truly matured. It's no longer this archaic, palliative art. It is now a modern, curative science that is governed by predictable radiobiology.
Let's just compare the two. The goal was often just palliative, the all-important radiation-absorbed dose was completely unknown, and the prescription was basically guesswork. But the new way? It's a modern science. The goal can actually be curative, the radiation-absorbed dose is predicted ahead of time, and the whole process is driven by data.
If you want to dive deeper, the research we talked about today is all detailed in these publications. We'll see you next time.